Get ready. You're listening to Give God 90 live.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, hello, everybody. Oh, I already had that turned down. Got one technical problem solved, but my technical problem was my own. Welcome, everyone, to Give God 90. We are live on a Thursday night, trying to make things work, and I hope it's working tonight. Certainly appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is Jerry Mitchell. Sitting beside me is my lovely wife, Myra. We certainly hope that you... Yeah, I got noise tonight. Certainly hope that all of you are alive and well as well. Whenever you may be joining us, whether it's tonight or later. I know a lot of you listen later. People that listen all over the world listen, because it's like 3 a.m. in Kenya and Uganda, and I don't know what time it is in Italy or the Philippines, but the folks that listen, some of them listen to us live. Some of them choose to tune in later, and that's fine. For everyone who is new to us, we do a lot of different things here, right? We've got the website, right? We've got givegod90.com. We've got the books, whether it's Tradition, Truth, or God's Universe, God's Rules. They are available wherever fine books are sold. And we've got the podcast. There's teachings that I do on messianicdelaware.org. There's teachings from other people at Messianic Delaware that are on messianicdelaware.org. If you're looking for us, we have lots of platforms, and we do all kinds. We're everywhere. Okay, we are on Facebook, YouTube, MeWe, Parler. Well, I'm on Parler. Don't look for Give God 90 there because it's just me. It's my personal stuff. But we're there. We're on Spreaker, which distributes to just about every podcast platform there is. And we are also on our own app. We have a free app that you can download. It takes about a minute to download. You can tune in, and with that on your mobile device, you can chat because the window's open where I can see people that comment if you choose to do that. Sometimes Jay does, sometimes he's not. He is extremely busy here recently. They need lots of prayer because they're caring for an elderly parent. They are not young by any stretch of the imagination, but they're caring for an elderly parent, and that requires help. That does require a lot of help. So that's going on. We reach people all over the world, right? But I've had a couple people ask me because they ask me, right? Folks all over the world know that we're in the middle of a presidential debate. And ladies and gentlemen, I suffered through it. And when I say I suffered through it, I suffered through it. Mm-hmm. It was hard to watch. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you're liberal, Democrat. It doesn't matter to me. Here's the thing that I think everybody agreed on with this particular presidential debate. And that is the moderator, Chris Wallace, lost.
He did that.
No matter who you were in favor of, Chris Wallace lost. Mm-hmm. There were questions that he asked that should... the only people that really interest the way he asked them were the people who were heavily interested in politics. Mm-hmm. If you didn't care about politics and you just want to know how somebody that I'm going to possibly be voting for is going to affect me, He didn't ask those questions.
No,
If you live
he
in a
didn't.
foreign country and you say, well, how is whoever the next president of the United States is going to be, how's that going to affect me where I live? He didn't ask those questions. He didn't ask the questions that were outside of any type of party lines. Let's just put it that way. So neither person, you already knew their positions on this stuff. If you follow them, you already knew what they were going to say. You already knew what the answer was. It was just a exercise in futility and nausea. So that's my answer for those folks who are asking. It was just sad. It was just sad. It really was. When I went to bed last night, I knew exactly what I was going to talk about tonight. And it wasn't all about that either. I knew I had to mention it, but it was okay. I knew what I was going to say. When I went to bed last night, I knew what I was going to talk about. I woke up this morning ready to put it on paper, so I had my notes, and it just didn't fit. In fact, it didn't fit at 1 o'clock this morning either when I woke up. So I'm all day going, well, what in the world do I need to look at? And, you know, this afternoon I sort of got my answer, kind of, in a way. Let me start by reading Genesis 6:8, part of Genesis 6:8. And for the folks out there who speak Hebrew as a first language, I know I'm going to ruin this for you, but this is Sussex County Hebrew, okay? Where I grew up. Venoach metzah chen ba'ani Yehovah. Noah found favor in the eyes of Jehovah. Now you might ask why I read that in Hebrew, right? There's an important word in there that we're going to talk about. Genesis 18:1 through 3. Jehovah appeared to Abraham at the oaks of... I'm sorry, that was wrong. Adonai appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre while he was sitting in the entrance of his tent during the heat of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the entrance to his tent, and he went to meet them, bowed to the ground, and he said, "My Lord," and that is Adonai right there. "I have found favor in your... If I have found favor in your sight, please don't go past your servant." Those two verses have a little bit in common, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're looking for some type of favor, some type of acknowledgement, some type of something. But believe it or not, they have something really unique when we compare them to Deuteronomy 24:1. A man might marry a woman, but he might decide she doesn't please him. He's found something bad about her, and he writes out divorce papers for her. He gives them to her and sends her away from his house. Now, what does two people finding, God finds favor in Noah, okay? Abraham asked someone if they look on him favorably, but now we see a man and a woman getting ready for divorce. But guess what? There's an interesting phrase in Deuteronomy 24. It says, "Lo temazach hen bani." No favor found in the eyes of him in this situation. The Hebrew word hen is translated into English as either favor or grace. Noah found grace in the eyes of his Creator. Abraham goes out and he looks at these gentlemen and he says, "If you have found grace in me, if you see grace in me, stay, eat, let me feed you." Now, when we look at this passage about divorce, what we see is now a woman owned the tent. The man owned the land that the tent sat on. So this was not something as easy as get out of my house like a lot of people want to make it out to be. This actually involved writing something important. And it's kind of radical that in Hebrew, Strong's number 2580 is, what makes up what we translate as grace or favor, and it's made up of two Hebrew letters, Het and Nun. Noach, is also made up of two Hebrew letters, but they're just reversed, Nun and Het. Noah means rest. Remember in Genesis 5:29, Lamech named his son Noah, saying, "He will comfort us from our pain, from the pain of our work," right? Because God cursed the ground. If you add the letter Mem to Noah's name, you get an interesting word, Nachem. It simply means to repent, to change your mind, to turn around, to go the other way, to think better. Those three words are connected. Hebrew is really, really kind of a cool language when you think about the way things are connected. You can switch letters around. You can add a letter. Typically when you add a mem, it makes it plural. This changes it just a little bitty bit. But now what we see is something completely different. Let's go back and look for a second and concentrate on grace. Noah found grace in the eyes of his Creator. What did Noah do? What did he do?
Well, he built an ark.
Well, yeah, but this is before he built the ark. Did he deserve to find grace in the eyes of his Creator? Did he do something special? Did he, what happened? How about Abraham? He goes out, greets people traveling across that particular part of the world, and says, "Look, if you think highly of me, if you'll respect me, I'll feed you." He's offering them something in return. And in Deuteronomy, we look at divorce. Very important here, but this isn't about the giving of grace. This is about taking grace away, because the woman could not divorce the man. But she could set up a circumstance where he would be forced to divorce her. It was her responsibility. If the husband was not meeting his responsibilities and being a good husband, it was the woman's job to remove grace or favor from the home and therefore force the husband to write out this get, this bill of divorce. And like I say, it's not a one-sentence deal. It was a very specific, very detailed contract. Abraham, because of his, the way he lived, the way he presented himself, this is one example. To this day, people who go out and travel in the Middle East, many of them still rely on this example. Don't forget, Abraham's son with Hagar, Ishmael, who gives kind of birth to Islam, right, in a sort of a way, is the one who introduces these principles of Abraham to the other peoples living in that area. Today we acknowledge them as Arab, right? Mm-hmm. If you are out and about and you see somebody and you know they see you, but you turn and go the other way, that's disgracing them. They will hunt you down and kill you because you just disgraced them. You did not give them the opportunity to come and say, "Can I be hospitable to you?" There's Doma.
Hi, Doma.
Shalom to you too, brother. Glad to see you. If you don't offer this hospitality, or if you don't provide the opportunity for someone to offer hospitality, that's disrespecting those folks. That's being disrespectful. And what that does, in turn, is it creates animosity. You've just made an enemy of someone. So what we're looking at here is in that particular part of the country, or part of the world, we see this. We don't see that so much in the United States. It didn't really carry through our culture. Kind of in a way it did, because typically if somebody comes to your house, you're going to offer them, something to drink or something to eat. You're going to be hospitable.
Right.
But it's not the same way. It's not the same way at all. We don't look at it that way. And I think that leads to the way modern Christians view grace. Because we don't see it the way the Creator designed it to work. You know, in my books, I compare grace to spiritual sugar. And people kind of read this and they go, huh? And it takes them a little bit to kind of connect the dots. But think about this. In your body, sugar is the compound. It doesn't matter which compound it is, whether it's dextrose or sucrose or fructose or any of the sugar compounds. Mm-hmm. The cells in your body will go, ooh, it's sugar. I need that. I want that. It gives me energy. They will always accept it. Right. There are certain companies around the world who develop medicines or vitamins, and they bond that vitamin to a sugar compound so that it actually gets in the cell, and the proteins are able to work that through with all of the stuff that's in the cell, all of the enzymes and whatnot. And it's really kind of interesting the way that works, because grace is kind of like that spiritual sugar. Our spirit's hungry for energy all the time. Mm-hmm. And grace is that energy that we get. Right? Right. Now, are all types of sugar good for you?
No.
No. The grace we get from the Almighty, our Creator, is always good for us. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like fructose is good for you unless you have a health issue, right?
Right.
Sucrose, white refined sugar, it feeds the bad stuff in us. Mm-hmm. Okay? And there is grace that comes from unholy spirits as well. Okay? I'm not going to get into a whole lot of that tonight. I need to stick to what I got. Here's the thing. Grace from the Almighty is kind of like high octane jet fuel for the soul that we have. Okay? That just feeds us. We desire grace. We need it. It energizes our spirit. It gives us the drive to be able to be obedient to the Almighty, right?
Right.
Okay. Even people who consider themselves atheist or agnostic, they still crave, they still desire, they still want some form of grace. They don't know that the grace that they need comes from the Almighty, right? But so what happens is these people who reject the Almighty, they search for grace in different ways. And that's what leads to spirits like addiction, right? Because unholy spirits are always accepting. They're always willing. And like I said a while ago, not all grace is good. Not all of it comes from the Almighty. You get that grace from an unholy spirit like addiction, and it's going to say, oh yeah, I like you. You need me. And eventually your physical body needs what they're offering, right? Mm-hmm. So even though they don't acknowledge the Almighty, because He designed them, they still crave that finding favor in somebody's eyes. They still finding grace from receiving grace from someone. Okay? Here is the problem that we have. We have perverted the way our Creator designed us to use grace. Think about that. He designed grace to function in a certain way, to feed our souls, right? To make us stronger, to give us the energy we need to live a Torah-driven life to please Him, right? Right. Remember, I asked a while ago, what did Noah do for the Almighty to find grace in his eyes? You know, it says he looked at Noah and he said, you deserve my grace. What was Noah doing? Noah was being obedient. He was just simply living the way he was designed to live. That's the way we find grace from God. That's the way God looks at us and says, "You're favorable. I'm going to, not give you just spoonfuls of grace, right? He's going to open the faucet and turn it on full blast and just shoot it at you, because he knows you need all the energy you can get to continue to do things that are pleasing to him. If we are, the way we find favor from our Creator is to be obedient. It is to do the things he asked us to do and to live the way he designed us to live. There's a very, very short book in the Bible, just over 200 Greek words, and it delivers a message telling us what happens when we pervert grace. And you can probably tell I was a little hesitant to bring this particular message because it's not one that people want to hear. We all hear, we're not under the law, we're under grace. Well, you are, but you got to figure out whose grace you're under, right?
Right.
You got to figure out what grace is feeding your spirit. Is it the kind of grace you want from the Almighty, or is it the kind of grace you don't want from one of those unholy spirits?
Right.
See where I'm going? In the book of Jude, which is just before Revelation, okay? Maybe we need to clarify who Jude is, because some people don't read it because they think Jude and they think Judas, and it's not the same person. This particular Jude identifies himself as the brother of James, who is also the brother of Yeshua, right? So James, now why Jude chose not to identify himself as the brother of Yeshua is probably cultural. You don't want to say I'm the brother of, who. You don't want to come across to people that you don't know and say I'm the brother of the king, right? You didn't want to do that. That's being arrogant. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you say I'm the brother of so and so, and then everybody knows that person is the brother of the kings. They know you are, but remember that he's identified earlier in Mark 6, 2 and 3. It says, on the Sabbath day he taught in the synagogue. Many people heard him and were amazed. They said, where did this man get these teachings? What is this wisdom that has been given to him, and where did he get the power to work miracles? He is only the carpenter. They looked at Yeshua and said, he's just a carpenter. Mary's his mother. You remember what she and Joseph did, right? You remember that story? And he's got a couple of brothers. He's got James, and Joseph was a brother. Simon. Oh, and there was Judas was another one. That's where we get to know who Jude is, okay? And it's really kind of a radical way of introducing yourself to people that you might not know. He says, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I'm an arrogant brother of a famous person. He's going to say, no, I am the brother of the brother. Because it was in family line, for one thing. Mm-hmm. They were going in order, and he's being humble. Again, going back to, if you find favor in me, let me be hospitable to you. Let me present this in a way that is not arrogant to you. Knowing that information, knowing who Jude is, we can begin to forensically dissect some of what he has to write. Because now we know who he is, how close he was to the source of the things he's saying, and we're going to start kind of not verse by verse, but section by section almost, and look at what he has to say. You want to read verse 3, and this comes from the International Children's Bible, because it oversimplifies it, and it makes it easy to deal with in this section, I think.
Dear friends, I wanted very much to write to you about the salvation we all share together, but I felt the need to write to you about something else. I want to encourage you to fight hard for the faith that God gave his holy people. God gave his faith once, and it is good enough for all time.
Now, most translations are going to translate that as the faith that was once delivered to the saints. The faith that was once delivered to the saints. what he's talking about here is not the death, burial, and resurrection. Okay, because that's how most modern Christian churches are going to present it. What he's referring to here is repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He goes straight back to the gospel that Yeshua was teaching in Matthew chapter 5, right? Tells us flat out, he's teaching, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's just out of our reach because flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom, but it's there. It's there. All you have to do is strive for it. Eventually you'll get to it. He says, look, I wanted to tell you about salvation, but you know what? I'm going to tell you about something else. We need to talk about, let's sit down and talk about this faith that was once delivered to the saints. Because even apparently at this time, it was beginning to be taught as something different. It was beginning to take on a different shape, even as the brother of Yeshua was writing us. Go ahead and verse 4.
Some people have secretly entered your group. They have already been judged guilty for the things that they are doing. Long ago the prophets wrote about these people. They are against God. They have used the grace of our God in the wrong way to do sinful things. They refuse to accept Jesus Christ, our only Master and Lord.
Okay. Now that's a mouthful right there. You know, he recognizes what's going on, and he says, look, there's people who are coming in, and they're edging their way in, they're creeping in, they're gaining some popularity, they're starting to talk really, really good, you're starting to listen to what they say, but they're using grace not from the Creator, they're using grace probably from the spirit of pride to get you to follow them. They're using grace not to glorify the Almighty, but to glorify themselves. They're using grace to sin. Now that's from the oversimplified translation, okay? Now the tough ones say they use it as a license to sin. That's basically what it says. They have taken grace and said it's a license to sin, which is today where we get that famous saying, we're not under the law, we're under grace. We're not under either. It's offered to both, right? Mm-hmm. You can choose whichever one you want. But if you choose to be obedient, you're going to get the full blast faucet of grace, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Okay? There's some other conversation here that he has, but I want to skip down to verse 7 and 8, because here is where he starts his warning. Go ahead.
Also remember the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah and the other towns around them. They acted as the angels who did not obey God. Their towns were full of sexual sin and men having physical relations with men. They suffer the punishment of eternal fire as an example for all to see. It is the same with these people who have entered your group. They are guided by dreams. They make themselves dirty with sin. They reject God's authority and say bad things against the glorious angels.
Now, here, remember that an angel is simply a messenger. Okay? That's their job description. This particular place, they're saying that they are saying bad things against the people who speak and glorify the Almighty. They're delivering God's message, and they're speaking bad against those people. It says, look, these people are going to make the folks who got Sodom and Gomorrah, that judgment, what these people get, going to make that look like a Sunday school picnic. Okay? It's that simple. What these people are going to get is going to make Sodom and Gomorrah child's play. That's how bad it's going to be for them. They're guided by their dreams, not the Almighty's dreams, right? Mm-hmm. I think last week I went into, I think it's Jeremiah and Isaiah that talk about the people who dream and the people who see visions, but they're not from God, they're from their own source, right?
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here. These people are bad. And it's happening. It's happening in every religion, in every culture, in every world government, not just the United States, all around the world. It's happening as we speak. How do we identify them? He gives us some interesting clues. One of them is found in verse 16. Go ahead, read verse 16.
These people always complain and blame others. They always do the evil things they want to do. They brag about themselves. The only reason they say good things about other people is to get what they want.
That's how you recognize them. You know, these are the gossipers. If you've ever had the ill-fated opportunity to listen to these conversations, it's nasty. It's nasty. And the nasty, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. Some of the nastiest ones are the little old church ladies who like guard the kitchen. You know, nobody can use their kitchen, but some people have to, and they don't like it. So now these little church ladies, they sit there and they say things like, "Did you see what she did in the kitchen? It looked like nobody cleaned it. It could have been spick and span, but it wouldn't have been clean enough for her, right?" You could have had Mr. Clean go through there for 3 days, scrubbing on his hands and knees, and it would not have suited her. Guarantee it. These are the people who, well, we'll let Jude speak, okay? 17, 18, and 19.
Dear friends, remember what the apostles of our Lord Jesus Christ said before. They said to you, in the last times there will be people who will laugh about God. They will do only what they want to do, things that are against God. These are the people who divide you. They do only what their sinful selves want. They do not have the Spirit.
Oh my. Domi, you're right. We do identify them through the spirit of discernment.
That's right.
The Almighty gives it to us. Jude happens to help us here. He happens to help us. He says, look, here's what you look for. They're only doing what they want to do. I only cook the chicken. I only bake the cakes. I only vacuum in the sanctuary. Nobody brags about cleaning the toilets. You know, let's face it. When was the last time you had somebody bragging about how clean the restroom was in their church building? When was the last time you had somebody bragging about, I swept the front steps? Nobody, but everybody sees it. We had a conversation today where I realized how spoiled you were. Now, for a long, long time, when places we lived, we never had any really decent equipment to take care of the yard, mow the grass, and do that kind of stuff. So we would mow the grass, and a lot of times you'd have grass clippings, and if we didn't have time to rake them up, they'd lay there until the wind blew them away, until something happened. Mm-hmm. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I had some extra time, and we actually had some equipment here after my parents passed away that was left here, and I used it. And for a couple of weeks, you didn't have grass clippings on your feet in the morning when the dew was on the grass, so it didn't stick to your ankles. And today you said you didn't do that. and I realized how spoiled I had made you. So, now here's the thing that we have to remember. Did I have to do that? No, I didn't have to do that. We could have lived very comfortably, very happy without me
with grass on my feet.
Because and it is irritating when you go, because we hang clothes out on the clothesline, right? Mm-hmm. We don't throw them in the dryer. We hang clothes out on the clothesline. So you go out early in the morning when the grass is still in there. I was trying to be nice and trying to do something to keep you from having to hose your feet off before you come in. But that's not what these folks are doing. These folks only do what they want to do. These folks will do everything they can, not to unite you, but to divide you. These are the people he's talking about here we see them in every group. There's Robin joined us. We see them in every
Hi,
group.
Robin.
What they do, and they will, if it's somebody they think they can use, they're just as sweet as sugar to them, aren't they? They will come up there, honey, you know what? I know you used to do this. I bet you're good at it. Would you mind helping us? And they will suck you into their, because what's our body what's our spirit and soul looking for? It's looking for favor, right? It's looking for grace. But the grace you're receiving from these people isn't the grace of the Almighty. It is the grace of an unholy spirit. It's out there. And you have to be careful of it. You have to watch for it. Just like Donna said. We identify them through the spirit of discernment and through, you know what? By your fruits, you will know them, right? Matthew 16:4, I think. You might be able to quote me on that, but I think it's Matthew 16:4. By their fruits you shall know them. By their actions you're going to know them. Are they doing it for the good of everybody? Are they doing it for the glory of the Almighty? Or are they doing it so that people say, my, that best chicken, that was good chicken. You know what? That apple pie, that was good apple pie. I don't know who made these pickles, but they were good pickles. I use pickles a lot because I like pickles. And there was a lady I knew years ago. She was, I'm going to say 50 years older than me at the time. Made the best pickles I've ever eaten in my life. Long gone. I don't know if she ever gave that recipe to anybody, but they were good pickles. She could unite people with her pickles. And she was a humble soul too. She was a very humble soul. These folks do things, and we look at them and we say, I didn't realize. And and a lot of times you don't realize until they reveal themselves, or until the Spirit speaks to you and says, watch that person. You got to watch that person. When you and it's not a noisy spirit a lot of times. It's just something that says, something ain't right. Something just not right here. That's when you know, and you watch, and by their fruit you will know them, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Verses 20 through 23. Here is an appropriate response to these folks. It might not be what you think it might be. Go ahead.
But dear friends, use your most holy faith to build yourselves up strong. Pray with the Holy Spirit. Keep yourselves in God's love. Wait for the Lord Jesus Christ with his mercy to give you life forever. Show mercy to people who have doubts. Save them. Take them out of the fire. Show mercy mixed with fear to others. Hate even their clothes which are dirty from sin.
Oh, heavens. How about that one? You identify people who are trying to divide the people, okay? There's this one or two or sometimes more, and they creep in. You know something's not right. They want to divide and conquer, right? They like being in charge. They're not doing it for the Almighty. They're doing it for themselves. And now, all of a sudden, here's Jude saying, you know what? We have to remember. We have to remember. We pray for our enemies because he says, pray with the Holy Spirit. Who are you praying for? These people. What are you praying for? Their salvation. That's what you're praying for. You're saying, look. And he divides mercy and faith very well right here, right? He says, look, you show them some mercy. You don't offer them grace. That's the Almighty's job. But you show them mercy. You say, look, here's how we do things here. Mm-hmm. We don't appreciate the divisive spirits here. We unite here. We build each other up. We don't tear each other down. And I really like the way that the translators for the International Children's Bible gives this last thing. You hate even the clothes that are dirty from sin. They can change their clothes, right? They can change their way. You offer them grace so that they can in turn repent. You offer them mercy so that they can repent and receive grace from the Almighty. There we go. I said that right.
Hi, Joyce. Thanks for
Hi,
joining
Joyce.
us.
Verse 24 and 25. I said this was a short book and we read almost the whole thing, but it's not that long. Go read it for yourself. Pick a good translation. There's a couple I would stay away from. You choose. But here's verse 24 and 25. Go ahead and read verse 24 and 25.
God is strong and can help you not fall. He can bring you before his glory without any wrong in you and give you great joy. He is the only God. He is the one who saves us. To him be glory, greatness, power, and authority through Jesus Christ our Lord for all time past, now and forever. Amen.
He finishes this dissertation, and that's really what it is. He finishes this, and he says, look, God's strong. Just lean on him. Just depend on him. He'll help you not fall. He'll help you out.
Right.
He can bring you into his glory, and he won't even look at how dirty your clothes used to be. Mm-hmm. He won't look at a thing. He's just glad that you're coming along. He's just glad that you're doing the thing so that he finds favor in you, right?
That's it.
The offer's always been there. I mean, we read from Genesis chapter 5, the offer has always been there. But will you accept it? Will you take it? The way we're living today, the things that are going on in this world today, I'm not really a big apocalyptic type person here. Yeah, we need to watch for what's going on, but I'm more the kind of person who's willing to say we can watch the news and see prophecy being fulfilled more and more and faster all the time.
Sure can.
We don't have forever on this earth, right? We don't have forever in these bodies. Maybe it's time you take a very serious look at this and say, have I been living outside of being able to, maybe you were in a church sometime and you said, yeah, I recognize this, I need it. But you really haven't been living that life that gives you the completeness of it. Maybe you've been denying it and you've been trying to receive grace, but you've been receiving grace from the unholy spirits. That bad sugar, right?
That's right.
The stuff that will kill you. There are several doctors now who are saying that granulated white sugar is like poison if you eat enough of it. Guess what? If you continue to receive grace from unholy spirits, like the spirit of addiction, the spirit of pride, the spirit of jealousy, it's going to hurt. It's not going to get you where you think you want to go. Trust me. Jude completes this by saying, the Almighty can help you. And he can help you not just for yourself, but he can also help you be merciful to the other people who need it and guide them to their salvation as well. Grace today, we have absolutely perverted the idea and the concept of it. We don't use grace at all the way our Creator designed it to be used. In Ephesians 2:10, 2:8, 2:9, 8 and 9, it says that salvation is a gift, right? Mm-hmm. A gift is given. A gift doesn't always have to be received. If I can give somebody a gift of $100, right? I can lay it on the table and say, it's yours. If you never picked it up, did you receive the gift?
I guess not.
No. You can't spend it. You can't put it in the bank if it's still laying on the table. Mm-hmm. Salvation's the same way. You have to receive it. You have to do something with it. What you do with it is up to you, but you have to do something with it. It's kind of like participatory sports, right? You can't play basketball if you're not on the court. right? Well, some people can't play basketball at all. You know what I mean, right? If you're not being part of it, if you're not there with it, if you're not in the game, you can't play. Mm-hmm. Salvation's kind of the same way. It's offered. The door's open. You can come in and play, right?
Right.
But if you stand outside, eventually you're going to be where you don't want to be, because there's a big lake of fire, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be there.
No, you don't.
You don't want to be there. Do yourself a favor. Read Jude. It's, just a little over 200 words in Greek, which closer to 300 words in English. Not a big deal. You can do it. Anybody can read it. It's not that hard to understand. Pick a translation. Pick the International Children's Translation.
Why not?
It's easy to understand. If you're looking for something easy, now if you're going to get in depth and study and do the word studies and the language, you need a better translation. Okay, you need a critical Greek text. But hey, not everybody's going to do that. But the thing is, it doesn't do you a bit of good if it's just sitting on the table, right?
Right.
A Bible sitting on the table doesn't do you any good if you've never read it.
No.
Ooh, kind of like a $100 bill, right? Mm-hmm. You can't spend it if you don't pick it up. See what I did there? Okay. What it all boils down to is we have to stop using grace as license to sin. We have to stop using grace. That's not how I want to say it. Let me say it this way: we must stop misusing grace and begin to use it the way it was designed to be used. How about that? To give us the energy to be obedient to the Almighty, because that's what it's designed for. That's where it comes from. That's what it's for. Feed your soul the good stuff. Feed your spirit the good stuff. That's what it's there for. That's what we're there for. You have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, thanks you everyone for joining us tonight.
Yep, we certainly appreciate it, everyone. Don't forget the like buttons, the share buttons. Love the comments. And, that's what I was going to comment about tonight, but that's okay. I'll do that another time. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate it. Until next time, have a wonderful day.